What's happening, guys? It's your boy, Nightmare Zone D-Skim Slapper. Today I got a bunch of beta world clips that I haven't used yet, and I'm gonna let you watch those while I have a discussion over it. So I will check back in at the outro of this video. So the first and foremost thing I need to cover is, in my last video, in the pure progression video I put up, towards the end, almost where my normal outro would be, I asked a question. I said, if you're still here, and you made it this far, I would like your opinion. And then I asked the question, what should I do with my account? Should I keep it as a pure, as a one defense pure? Or should I go ahead and make it a main? Or do anything with it? And I actually got a comment from a gentleman. I have to refer to his name real quick. I got a comment from Worthy Karma that says, maybe try make it a 13 defense pure. Pretty sure it can be self-sufficient. And if I don't end up liking it, I can just make it a main. That's a good sounding idea. However, I don't like the number 13. I just don't. But what I was thinking instead is they just recently, well, I don't know if it's in the game yet, but they're planning on releasing Nex, the next boss, as well as those armors. And that's got me sitting here thinking, if they're willing to add all this RS3 content into old school RuneScape, how long is it until they put curses in? And I've been wondering that for a long time. I've been thinking they're going to put the curses in at some point. I mean, it just makes sense. I'm not going to say they're trying to make the game into a private server of itself, but there's a lot of updates that have come through since I've been playing that have made it look that way. And I'm not sure how I feel. The more this game turns into a private server looking thing, though, the further it gets from its integrity as a game called RuneScape, or old school RuneScape for that matter. Well, what am I talking about when I mean private server like? Well, old school RuneScape did not have a lot of the shit that this game has. To be fair, it is fresh content, so I can't complain. However, there is some RS3 aspects that have been added into old school I personally cannot stand. I'll give you a few examples too. One of which is the pets. I completely have no idea, under the sun, why people are so obsessed with pets on old school at least. Because, you know, it'd be one thing if you could like right click a pet and see what the person's kill count in the boss is, or what their experience in the skill is, or whatever. You can't. Now, I know RuneLite has a way to look that up for people, but then again, you just have a little summoning familiar following you that can't do anything. And all it does is show that you got lucky. That's really it. And the only, thing I've heard in terms of why people like pets so much is collection log, and that's genuinely it. That's genuinely the only reason you would want a pet. Because they're useless content. They don't do anything other than show people you got lucky, or you got unlucky if you got the pet really far into your journey. But that's just one example of RS3 content that made it to old school. That's not necessarily game breaking or anything. Pets at least. However, Nex. If Nex is about to be added, how long until the curses are added? And with that comes my idea. If they do end up adding curses, I would like to be one of the first turmoil pures. Now, for those that don't know, back in the day, there was pures, obviously the one defense pures. And then when the curses came out, the one defense pures tried to figure out, how can I get those and keep my defense low? Well, they found out after the quest you're sitting roughly 28 defense. 30 if you do the Monkey Madness thing at the end where you get the defense. So even if they didn't do that, they'd round up to 30, just so it wasn't weird. And then train the shit out your prayer. They would usually have 99 range, mage, strength, 95 prayer, turmoil, and be maybe 92 to 96 combat. And honestly, that was some fun times for me. Because as you can see in the video, I'm trying to do some NH hybriding here. And I'm not the best. I'm getting better over time. If you reference the video, the beta world video I put up back in April, you'll see that I straight up did not like this style at all. And to be completely fair, there's times I'm just not feeling it. I don't feel like doing all this extra stuff when I'm fighting somebody. However, getting into old school, I realized pretty quickly I needed to learn how to do that anyway. Whether I'm a main or a pure, you just need to know how to do that. Since there's no soul split to just shred people and heal you up, shred out their prayer while healing you up, it makes the most sense to do the NHing. So I can at least say over time I've changed about that. At least back in April, I hated it, and then lo and behold, I started playing LMS, got a little bit of practice, and I could be worse. I don't want to be, but I could be. Anyway, in regards to the curses, I've done a lot of looking through Reddit and stuff where people are asking the same question, like, are we ever going to get curses on old school? Should we even get curses on old school? Originally I was thinking no, but I was also thinking that Next wasn't going to pass the poll for some reason. I genuinely didn't think it would pass the poll. I was incorrect on that matter. But even with that being said, I didn't think Next was going to pass the poll. So what happens if they pull curses? I know there's a lot of people that think it's a terrible idea to throw it in, like thinking you really don't need to go beyond piety since some of the gear in this game really makes up for not having turmoil. However, I've just been thinking a lot lately about what if they put it in? I mean, they could. At this rate, this game's going all over the place. From my perspective, that's just how it looks to me. If they threw those in and I still had this one defense pure though, that opens up a whole new world of content. Unfortunately, what would realistically happen is I would max Dick Tucker 69. And then I would have a max pure, and I would sit on a max pure for a very long time. I have a feeling if they ever do add it, it's probably not going to be for maybe another couple years. I feel like they got a lot more stuff they'd rather tackle before they start putting in, RS3 content, to be honest. But even then, they got some RS3 content in here. At least the combat still works the way it used to. But anyway, that's in regards to the question I asked on my pure progression video, the last one. What am I going to do with this account? Now, the 13 defense pure, I don't know how to do that. I don't know if that's like get 11 defense or whatever and train up, or if there's quests or something. Or what would even be the purpose? To wear black armor? Is there something else? I could probably look it up maybe. I don't really know what I would do with that. What I would do though, in time of waiting to make this account a main, I would probably make it a voider. 42 to 45, I might even go with the Zerker, because that's not even a bad build. That gives me access to fight mains in the wilderness as well as pures, or even on PvP worlds. I have a pretty broad horizon of people to attack. So with all that being said, I think my final decision on what I'm going to do with the account once I'm maxed the pure and do all my other goals, then I might just start zerking off on it. I may just have to zerk off. And then for those that don't know, a Berserker account on RuneScape is 45 defense. It's a 45 defense pure. People call it a Berserker pure, mainly for the Berserker helmet, I'm assuming, which needs 45 defense. So those are just 45 defense pures. Just picture a 1 defense pure with slightly better gear and a slightly higher combat level. And yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing with the account when I'm done maxing it. So what are these goals that I'm talking about? Well, I have a video in the works right now, actually. It's the next pure progression. I also have another video in the works right now, and I'm working on this one as I'm talking. So it just works out. But I do have another pure progression coming up, and in this pure progression I mentioned these goals, which I will now mention as well here. I would love to get 1500 total levels so I can play on World 420. That's absolutely necessary for someone of my stature. I also would like to get... what was my other goals? I still need to get the fire cape. I'm still lacking in that aspect. And maybe getting 45 defense would help that. I don't want to find out. I want to get the fire cape before I do that. I want to get 2 fire capes before I do that. I want to try the Inferno. I don't expect to win, but I want to try the Inferno before I go zerking off. And then my last goal was to get at least enough kill count on every boss to place on the high scores, or the high scores, to where if I look myself up on RuneLite, I can scroll down and see like, oh, I got this, and this. And I got a few of them done. I just want enough kills for them to show up. I'm not really trying to go for rank 1 or anything, but I'm training my account as I'm talking right now, and I can go ahead and tell you that Barrows is showing up, Wintertodt is showing up, Crazy and Deranged Archaeologist, and so far that's it. So I need to do that, as well as all these skills that I gotta get done on my account. 1500 total level. Realistically need to max my construction at some point too. That's just money I don't got. But that's essentially it for the goals. And it's probably going to take a while. I've also realized the pure progression videos up until the next one that'll come out after this video, they haven't had any direction to them. I've just kind of been running around like, I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to do this now. So having these few goals will have the episodes having more of a railroad for the train to go down, basically. And that's good, because so far it's just been sporadic all over the place. It's like, oh, I'm gonna train some rune crafting. Oh, I'm gonna go play some LMS. Oh, I'm gonna go hunt some Chinchampa bots. Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It's sporadic, and it's low-key makes my character and me look like I have mad ADHD, and I do. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not a doctor. But those pure progression videos will at least formulate some more structure over the next few episodes. And leading into when the pure progression ends up turning into maybe Zerk progression, main progression, whatever, I'll still call it what it is. But I'll still be doing it on those because I'll have different goals by then. And I really, really, really need to have the fire cape before I do any of that. Before I do anything with the account, before I do anything defense-wise. I really want to have that fire cape, man. There's no reason I shouldn't have it by then. But in regards to that fire cape, my last attempt was the most solid one I've had to date. The reason I died was because, obvious excuse, I'm going to blame lag, but my prayer switches were too slow. Is the bare bones reason that I died. I blame that on lag. I was on what I believe to be a local server. It was probably West Coast or something, but I was on an American server, and I'm sitting here like, he'd rise up on his back legs, I'd throw up the magic prayer, and then 45 on me. The healers came out. This time, I was ready for them, but I wasn't ready for Lagscape to hit right when Jad spawned. It was bad luck and bad skill combined on the last attempt. I do feel like I can get the fire cape as a pure. It's just, you gotta do it so right. You have to get all the way to Jad and still have a lot of supplies left over. You gotta have a lot of brute, or a decent amount, just in case something happens. You want to have you definitely need some prayer restores by the end of it. I've been taking blood barrages because I can't afford purple sweets. That's a 12k a pop or something like that last I checked. I can't afford that, so I took the blood barrages instead, and it works the same for me. I used them on those little guys and it healed me up. Birds and the little blobby guys. So that should be coming soon. The pure progressions will have more structure to it. Now, the most important thing a pure does is PK. Why the fuck am I slacking on the PK content? And I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because that's what I'm doing. The only PK content I've really done was bot hunting, but I don't count that as player killing. I count that as bot killing. That is not PKing, that is BKing. Have it your way. Burger King did not pay me to say that. They should, though. Anyway, obviously the most PvP content, or PKing content, or whatever you want to call it, that has been featured on my channel has been this right here, and the other beta world. The other two beta world videos, I should say. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. However, they don't roll out the beta worlds enough for me to rely on that, so I gotta figure something out. Now, in terms of pure PKing, it's kind of, if I don't have a max pure, then I just don't stand a chance. If I don't have maxed stats, then I can get maxed gear to make up for it. The problem is maxed gear is expensive. It's very expensive. At least for what I got right now. So yeah, I'm kind of at a stalemate where I almost have max stats, but I don't for a pure. I have some of the best in slots, but not all of them. And the ones I'm still missing is like one's 9 mil, one's 6 mil, one's 5 mil. And it just adds up. I don't know if I'd take it PKing, because I know I'd lose it. Especially when you're pure fighting. There's a lot of quick KOs that come out of nowhere. I personally just haven't had a whole metric fuck ton of luck in the pure scene. And that could also be blamed on me. Maybe I'm just bad. And I'm okay with that. I personally think I shine better with 45 to 99 defense, maybe. I mean, I know I'm not the best in the world. It's evident by this whole stream of footage that's been going on behind my voice. If anybody's been paying attention to it, that I'm average. Most of these fights that have been shown are people attacking me. Some of them just wanted me to kill them so they could get their spec back. But yeah, I'm really leaning towards making a main. I personally, it's 2021. I don't see a point in making a pure unless you already have a main. And that's mainly because pures are the most viable when they have the max gear and the max stats. And I don't have the max gear. I can earn the max stats, and I can do it again too. That's one point I made in this video that has not been released yet. Is that sometimes it's just easier to make a pure from scratch. It's easier to just go and redo all those quests real fast. And if you already have a main that's got a pretty big bank, you can throw 10 mil to the pure and it's not really harming the main, and it's definitely helping the pure. So it's a win-win. On top of that, not just the pure. Theoretically, if I had a very wealthy main, I could have any kind of account. I could have a 1 defense pure, I could have 6 1 defense pures, all with different builds. I could have a berserker, I could have a void, I could have a piety, I could have a straight up defense range tank. The possibilities are endless. But there needs to be a stream of income, and I'm not the guy that's going to be giving Jagex any of my money for bonds to sell. I would personally rather go bossing with my clan, my friends, anything, because mains make a lot of money and everybody knows this. They're always rolling in dough. So that's the plan. Back at Nightmare Zone here for the outro. These plans will be enacted over time, and you'll be seeing that so long as you tune in. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe. You do that if you feel like it. I'm not going to ask you to like the video. You do that if you feel like it. This has been... I forgot what my name is. I'll just call myself Demon Slayer 42. This is Demon Slayer 42 signing out, and take care and peace, everybody.